having a conversation now. Well, let's start with the Godfather because why do you like two more? Just we'll lead
Combat
it
and
with that.
coffee. You got combat and coffee. Today's combat and sparkling water. Combat and spark. I'm on a little bit of a fast this morning, so combat and sparkling water. Does anybody out there you take coffee on your fast?
Me? No, I drink sparkling water like if I'm fasting. I drink the lacrosse.
I do sparkling water fast. It's no calories, right? So you gotta have a no calorie fast. But sometimes people do black coffee when they fast too. So I could have technically done combat and coffee, but I'm doing combat and sparkling water today.
I'm doing black coffee right now, actually, but I'm not fasting, unfortunately. Uh,
Unfortunately.
I've got the Miami U shirt though. We're 3-0. I'm repping the U. I'm repping our brand.
How are you? How are you from LA and you like the Hurricanes? Aren't you supposed to like USC or something or UCLA?
No, because my parents didn't go to schools with programs, and then I didn't go to school with the program. And I watched the documentary about the 2000s team and the
Oh,
80s team when I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
I
It
was a
was
kid,
Schellenberger and then Jimmy Johnson and all that.
and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
convicts versus the Catholics, and I love
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, yo, dude, those are good rivalries, bro. Those are good, bro.
yeah.
Oh, the
So if you
Devin
see in all
and the
my
Miami stuff
and in all my
when
photos
they
when
were
I'm
good.
young, my picture with Kobe, I'm wearing a U shirt.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cool.
I'll throw that in there. Paulie, we're back. It's been a sec. We've had some boxing.
We're back. We're back, and we had a lot of boxing in the past over the summer. That was a little bit of a lull. We had from May to June. We had a lot of boxing, a little bit of lulls, right? But we boxing's been pretty consistent, bro. What does everybody think of that Canelo fight? You know, I gave my thoughts. I don't think Berlanga actually tried to win. I think he tried to go to distance. I think McCombie tried to beat Plant though. I didn't think Berlanga tried to beat Canelo. I thought he just fought to go to distance. I really never saw him actually trying to go for the win. And when you go for the win, you risk getting yourself knocked out, which did happen to McCombie because he did try to win the fight. Uh,
So, one of our top comments was saying Canelo's just enjoying his golden years. He's padding his bank account and making these guys Berlanga, Munguia just a huge payday.
yeah, yeah, he is enjoying himself. He's enjoying himself. He's like I said, I don't have a problem with that if you don't take the titles with you. I think he's still a good fighter. Even if Benavidez would kick his ass, he'd still be like a top freaking 168 pounder. I think for sure. You hear me over there, Jimmy?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
got you. Yeah,
All right.
I'm doing two things
You
at
get
once.
no
I'm managing the
reactions
live.
over here. I want to see some reactions
Yeah,
over here.
yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
so
I
he'd still
got
be
you.
a
I
top
got you. I'm making the
368 pounder.
thumbnail at the same time because we're
Yeah,
live and it's been a
but
sec.
yeah, he's enjoying his retirement, which I guess I don't know. Did Kobe and Shaq get to do that when they got late in their careers? Did they get to just get the championships given to them and just enjoy they're just playing some. Did they get to go win the NBA title against high school basketball teams because hey they just wanted to win, they just want to enjoy their retirement? Does anybody else get to do that, or does that only happen in boxing? If the Lakers and if Kobe and Shaq wanted to enjoy their twilight years, does that mean they get to play high school teams for the NBA title? Is that what that does that mean?
Well,
That no, it doesn't
LeBron's
mean that.
well,
Doesn't mean that, right? That's why
LeBron's
boxing
playing
is
with
a
his
joke.
kid.
That's why boxing is a joke.
I'd argue LeBron right now is playing with his kid. That's never been done before.
But what does that mean? That he's
That
enjoying
means
it.
he's enjoying his twilight years because his kid's not a
He
first
is,
round
but
pick.
they're not. He doesn't get to win the NBA title by playing high school teams. Though he's got to still play in the NBA. He's got to still beat NBA teams. He's got to beat the best NBA teams in the playoffs to win the NBA title, or he does not win the NBA title. You know what I'm saying? He can play with his kid all he wants.
So you're saying this dilutes the importance of the titles when you're just having the same guy.
That's what I'm saying with Canelo. Canelo can enjoy the twilight years all he wants, but why is he allowed to keep championships fighting subpar opposition? That's my problem. My problem is not don't enjoy your retirement. Go knock yourself out, light yourself on fire for all I care. Not do whatever you want to do. Just get stripped of the titles. And if you're not going to fight top opposition, it's no other sport allows this.
So the consensus was that Berlanga looked a lot better than we thought he looked, right?
Because everybody thought Berlanga was in the last 2 rounds to get knocked out. So the bar wasn't exactly set high, guys.
But when somebody comes in, I'm hearing from Warriors Only 1966, one of our other top comments, He came in at over 200 pounds. His footwork surprised him. What did you see from Berlanga in that?
He probably didn't come in over 200, but yes, he was big.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, despite all that, he didn't show any balls to win the fight. Imagine showing up that big
Yeah,
and then actually not trying to win the fight. That's not, that doesn't count for him. That counts against Canelo, because you're getting guys who, just because I can find some doofus in the street doesn't mean he's going to beat me up if he doesn't know how to fight. You know what I mean? Like, just because he's a 6'5" doofus in the street. Not to say that Berlanga's a doofus. Listen, he is what he is. He's qualified to that degree that he's going to be qualified, but he's not of that championship level.
Are you gonna call Berlanga a doofus to his face?
No. I said no. He's not. I know Berlanga, dude. I don't know from New York. I'm not trying to disrespect him in that way. What I'm trying to say is doesn't mean he's ready for a championship fight. What's up, Art? What's going on? Doesn't mean he's ready for a championship fight. You know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It doesn't mean he was ready. He should have been in this kind of fight. Berlanga is, I'd say, a top 10. I mean, I think Ring put him like top 5 now because of this performance, which I think is ridiculous. But I think he's like a top 10, maybe top 12 super middleweight. He's a solid fighter. But bro, there's a difference between number 1 and number like 10. You know what I mean? It's a pretty drastic difference at times, you know, in certain weight classes, you know. And I don't think that he was ready for this kind of fight. You know, I don't know if he ever may be ready, because if you come to this kind of fight and you don't go to win it, like at least Munguia tried to win and he just got worked out, right? As the fight wore on, Canelo showed his experience, he showed his savvy. Berlanga never tried to win it. So if you don't come to this kind of fight to try to win, if you don't try to win this kind of fight, what are you going to try to win? You know, that's my question there as far as all the praise and whatnot. We're giving guys participation medals now. Like we're giving credit to guys that are just showing up and trying a little bit. You know, it's not the world I grew up in, guys. I mean, maybe today we do that, but that's not. I can't fathom that kind of mentality. You know, like put yourself on the line. You get knocked out, but go fight. Go out in a blaze of glory. Go out fighting. I thought Berlanga was going to get stopped in this fight, but I thought he was going to show himself to be respectable. But the reason I thought he was going to get stopped in this fight is not because I thought he was going to do this. I thought he was going to come to win. I thought because it's his first big fight, he was going to put it all on the line and try to prove that he belongs on this level. Yep. So when I was predicting Berlanga to get stopped, I was also predicting the Berlanga to go for it. You know what I mean? So even though I felt he was going to get stopped, he was going to come out the better for it on the other side. In the end, you don't fall like that. Macumbi fought like that. What I thought Berlanga was going to be, Macumbi ended up being, you know, which was a guy who, listen, wanted to prove he's on this level, getting a lot of doubters, a lot of naysayers, was defiant in the press conferences to prove that he wasn't just here to show up just for a payday, but there to prove you could believe Macumbi's trash talk. It was actually believable. Berlanga's trash talk was never actually believable with all that 6-round KO trash talk, because in the end, he didn't even try in the 6th round. If he was really believing that, I mean, he would have at least turned it up a gear or two in round 6 when knowing that he predicted a knockout. So it was never believable, the trash talk Berlanga was giving. Macumbi, you could believe it. It was getting under Plant's skin. He wasn't backing off when he was under Plant's skin. He kept pushing it, and then he showed up to fight, and he got in Plant's face and went and actually knocked him down and rocked Plant, and then Plant showed his quality, showed his versatility, showed the different levels that he is. He showed what a championship fighter is, and he welcomed Macumbi. Hey, buddy, this is the championship level. Just because you hit us in the face doesn't mean we go away. We actually turned it around on you. Welcome to this level. You're going to learn from this. And I think Macumbi comes out the better for it. I don't know that Berlanga learned anything in this fight, dude. I don't know if he's better for it, but because of the way he fought. I can't tell you for sure. I'd like him to be. Because I like new faces sort of coming into the new divisions and the wheel keeping on turning and things like that, you know, and it's only in the 168-pound division, it's only going to turn as far as Canelo lets it turn. So, you know, not all the top guys are going to get these shots, but I mean, I would like to see Berlanga come out the better for it, but it raised more questions than it gave us answers about Berlanga, in my opinion. While with Macumbi, it gave us answers, you know. Screw it, man. Put Macumbi and Berlanga up against each other, bro. I think that's a good fight.
I would like to hear your response on this.
Go ahead.
Paulie has Canelo derangement syndrome.
It's interesting that we get that. You know, I think people that say that have Canelo blowhard syndrome. And I'm right, though. I'm the one that's right in this situation. Because in reality, no other sport is supposed to allow this. This is wild, bro. What happens in boxing is wild. And the fact that you have a groupies that come in and actually defend this. Nobody should defend this, dude. This is wild. Only like I said, the Lakers don't just get to play the high school teams for the NBA title when Kobe and Shaq are late in the twilight of their careers, just because we're going to give them the respect that they were so great that we're going to allow them to play high school teams to defend their NBA title. Like, that doesn't happen in any other sport, bro. That's not allowed to happen. The fact that this happens in boxing, and then you got blowhards that defend it and are okay with it, that's wrong, bro. That's off. I don't have any derangement syndrome for wanting boxing to be a sport like any other sport should be, which is the best competing against the best and championships being fought for between top opposition, the very top opposition, not the semi-top against the very top. Never.
Sorry, I'm just editing the thumbnail right now so we can get some viewers in, and we have some people on live on the chat, and they're all calling you a Canelo hater. I know you've already explained why.
I get it. And I think, listen, I think if we all agreed on everything, it wouldn't be fun anyway. I think this makes it more fun regardless. Because, listen, there's so many of you blowhards out there. You're like, you outnumber the non-blowhard like 9 to 1, right? So it's good that, like, at least you blowhards are on this page so that we can go back and forth. Because I think if everybody just, like, realistically, it's more fun to talk to me who just disagrees with you, and we can go back and forth. We can make points, as opposed to being in a stadium full of Canelo blowhards, and you all agree on the same thing, and you don't really have anything to talk about because you all like, Canelo, Canelo. That's not fun, So I think when we can actually debate about it, talk about it, give different ideas. If I'm not a Canelo, if I'm a Canelo derangement syndrome, I'd like to hear why you guys feel like that. I like to hear the reasoning behind it. And I don't want to hear that Canelo fought this guy and this guy in 1785. You know what I mean? I want to hear it like, the things that are happening now, because nobody ever said Canelo wasn't an excellent fighter in his day and at the time where I thought he was in his prime and when he was a pound for pound fighter. Nobody's denying that. But I am going to deny, just like any other sport, Ali didn't get to fight the rank amateur from the New York Golden Gloves if he wanted to keep defending his heavyweight title late in his career just because he was Ali. You know what I mean? Like, he had to still fight top opposition if he wanted to keep his title, or he had to drop it. So this is respect that wasn't even this is blowhardness to the level that wasn't even given to people greater than Canelo, like Ali, for example. This is a level of blowhardness that wasn't never given to guys like that. So why should we give it to anybody else?
People are saying calling people who disagree with you blowhards is disrespectful.
No, it's not disrespectful because, again, you're disagreeing with me based on being a blowhard. You're not telling me, well, Canelo should have fought Berlanga because. Why should Canelo have defended the title against Berlanga? Give me a good reason why Canelo should have defended the title against Berlanga in the last couple of weeks. The unified super middleweight title against Edgar Berlanga, who'd never been at this level. Mind you, Canelo's excuse against Demetrius Andrade was that he hadn't fought enough top guys and he didn't want to fight Demetrius Andrade when Andrade was in his prime. So now all of a sudden he fought a guy who'd never been in against anybody, but had less accolades and never been a world champion. At least Andrade had been a world champion and had fought completely unnoticeable opposition, and Canelo fought him. So if I'm disrespectful or you are blowhards, let's settle the debate right now. Give me a good reason why Berlanga should have been chosen as the guy who got defended against on September 14th. If you can give me a good reason, then you know what, we can actually say, okay, you know what, maybe I'm being too disrespectful. But if you can't give me a good reason, then yes, you're blowhards. You're proving my exact point. This is what I'm talking about here.
They are saying, then why did Floyd fight Canelo?
Why didn't Floyd fight Canelo? Floyd did fight Canelo.
Why did Floyd fight Canelo?
I tell you why Floyd fought Canelo, and you guys know this too. You guys know this better than me. For some reason, there was a big push on Canelo when Canelo was very young. I can remember hearing about Saul Alvarez working on Showtime and even hearing it on an HBO broadcast about future Floyd possible opponents. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? I don't even know who this guy is. There was a big push for Canelo, and there was a lot of money behind Canelo, to the point where it was so much that this guy had to be put in this kind of fight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was like, I don't know why that sometimes boxing does that. They push guys to that point. Canelo was being pushed up. And honestly, it works out most of the time. Eventually, they do become what they're supposed to become. But Canelo got the fight against Floyd because he was already becoming that guy. And he was there was a big push behind Canelo, huge push right behind Canelo from the time he was like 19 or 20 years old. In this case, there is no push for Berlanga, guys. Berlanga's I'd probably bet you pretty good money that Berlanga's probably never going to become world champion. You know, I'd probably be willing to bet you on that. So there's no push for Berlanga here. It's a very different situation from Floyd fighting Canelo to Canelo fighting Berlanga. You cannot compare it. You can do all kinds of mind tricks in your mind to make yourself want to compare it, but it is not the same thing. There was a major push for Canelo coming up the ladder to the point where I was asking, why is there such a push against for this guy? I've never even seen him fight yet, you know? But there was. That's the way it was.
One thing, we're gonna wrap up Canelo, this conversation, with a couple different polls, but I had one question from that Floyd fight. Is that where he learned all that head work from, that head movement? Is that what reset
No,
him?
not necessarily. I just think the
some
experience
stuff.
in general. I mean, I think you learn from fights. You learn from fights you win. You learn from fights you lose. You learn from experiences in the ring. You learn, dude. You know, people always say like, oh, if you lose, that's when you learn. You can win. You can win and learn too, because there's certain rounds, even in fights that you win, that teach you something. You may go through certain rounds, certain moments in fights, and you'll keep those in the memory bank. You know, that kind of what you went through or what you had to deal with or what you overcame or what you did or something that worked that you found worked very well. So you're always learning in there. I think Canelo learned in the Mayweather fight, but I think Canelo continued to learn even after that, before that, and so on and so forth. As long as you remain humble enough to where you want to, your goal is to keep improving and being the best, you'll keep learning. Once you get to the point where you're like, whatever, you know, I'm just here for money. I'm going to, or like Canelo's doing, just basically saturating the market with, you know, undeserving guys getting title shots, and you'd be like, whatever, you're not going to learn anymore. But then again, it's hard to keep the desire to keep learning when you have made that kind of success and had that kind of money. So I don't really expect the guy at this point to keep learning. But boxing's like numbers, dude. There's always a counter move to a counter move to a counter move to a counter move. Just like numbers never end. You know, you can just, there's always another number after another number. So you never really do master all of it.
All right, to wrap up the Canelo conversation, I'm gonna put this up right here. We did a poll, who was the best boxer at 168 in their prime? And we put Andre Ward, Canelo Alvarez, James Toney, Joe Calzaghe. I didn't put Roy Jones Jr. in that.
Well, Jones didn't spend a lot of time at 168.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put him in there.
Yeah, I tell you what. For me, it's Ward.
For you, it's Ward. For everybody
the most talented, the one with the most upside though is James Toney, but he was so inconsistent. But see, with Ward, if you put Ward and you say I want your best 168 pounder in your best fantasy fight, you take your pick. Who are you going to recruit? You can recruit James Toney, but you may not get the best James Toney. You may get an out of shape fat James Toney who didn't really train for the fight. Ward is dependable. Ward is the best one because if you want your guaranteed 168 pound 168 pound super fight in a fantasy fight, and you want to recruit one guy, Ward is the most dependable because he's ultra talented, but he's also always going to be ready for the fight. So for me, it's Ward out of those guys.
And the poll was that 36% for Ward, 25 for Toney, 20 for Canelo, and 18% for Calzaghe.
Calzaghe gets a little bit underrated here too because people, I know he wasn't American, so he's a little bit people is a little bit out of, and also he didn't fight always the best opposition. But I think the fact that Calzaghe's not American, and you're gonna say, oh, Canelo's not American. Yeah, but Canelo's from Mexico, which is North America. We're all in the same continent over here. I think Calzaghe sometimes can be underrated a little bit in that regard, and then sometimes he can be overrated because sometimes the level of opposition he fought wasn't always as stellar as those other guys. But nonetheless, stylistically, Calzaghe was very difficult to deal with.
And then we put up another poll. I'll put it right here. Who's the best Mexican-born fighter on this list? I made it a list, not like of all time, just because the Salvador Sanchez. There's too many, and a lot of people put Salvador Sanchez there only with his unfortunate death at 23.
I think Salvador is an excellent fighter, but I think he's a little bit overrated. I watched. There was a trainer in at least the gym when I was coming up the ladder. His name was Patrick Ford. Just a regular, quiet guy. Like I honestly, most of the trainers in the gym are always ex-fighters, but you don't really think about it when you're a teenager, like what this guy might have been, or especially in my years where there was no YouTube. You know, you just don't know what. And then somebody told me to watch Patrick's fight against Salvador Sanchez, and I was like, oh man, he fought Salvador Sanchez. That's pretty wild. You know, because Patrick's very tall. I was like, who knows? I didn't even know he had been a featherweight. I was like, whoa. So I watched this fight. Dude, he beat Salvador Sanchez. I was like, we can each other. They robbed him. Patrick Ford got robbed against Salvador Sanchez. Anybody out there watch Patrick Ford and Salvador Sanchez? And that's not to say that Salvador isn't an excellent fighter nonetheless, but I think that Salvador was didn't get to show us all his greatness and didn't get to. And we know we talked about Canelo and constantly improving through coming up the years coming up. I don't think we got to see Salvador Sanchez constantly improve because he died at 23 years old. So there's a lot of upside, but I think Salvador Sanchez gets the whole #1 Mexican fighter of all time thing because of the legendary status that his death brought as well. I don't know that you can say for sure,
So
I think he'd have been a handful for Chavez, though.
it was an
Stylistically, I think Salvador
overwhelming.
would have been a handful for Chavez to deal with.
It was an overwhelming win for Chavez on the poll with 59%. Canelo second with 28. Juan Manuel Marquez 10, and then Eric Morales at 4%. And there's so many there that I miss.
Yeah, I mean, there's also many fighters that in the non-YouTube generation, like this is.
Yeah.
If you notice those names are all like on the internet generation, except Chavez. So Chavez just automatically transcends everything. But I think and those are excellent fighters, honestly.
And these are Mexican born. So this doesn't include De La Hoya, all the other guys.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, Marquez is also pretty underrated. Morales sometimes is underrated. Like, there's a lot just in that generation. Then the generations in the past, Zarate, you got I don't know, you got Barrera.
Was he Mexican born?
Barrera's Mexican born, yeah.
Okay.
Barrera doesn't even speak English.
Yeah, okay. I posted the interview. Okay, well, let's move on to. Oh boy, I wanted to ask you one more question about Sanchez. People are saying he was the most complete fighter under the age of 25 that they've ever seen. His beautiful style was hypnotic. They never got tired of watching him. Was there anything in his style that really popped out to you? Because I'm curious about.
He had a good rhythm. He had a good rhythm, a deceptive rhythm, and then he was active. He threw a lot of punches off of that deceptive rhythm. So, people I think love him because he was also fun to watch. He was very offensive. He was very attack minded, but he was responsible defensively. But again, I can't. Once I saw the Patrick Ford fight, it changed my perception of him. I think people, the Salvador Sanchez fight, he is a legendary fighter, and I would have loved any. And as far as a fighter under 25 years old, he is amazing and very complete. But I do think there's a little bit of overrating when it comes to Salvador Sanchez. I do. And that's not to say that he wasn't excellent, but I do think that there's a little bit of overrating. If you watch the Patrick Ford fight, you're going to see that there was things he was susceptible to, and there was things he still had to learn. And who knows, he may have learned them. Like I said, he didn't get to unfortunately keep learning because he died at 23 years old, which is crazy. The biggest learning lesson. I hear that he crashed his car. He was going to meet his side chick in camp. He went to meet the side piece. The side piece is always a problem, Jimmy. Always. The side piece. He broke camp to go meet his side piece, and he was speeding there, and he crashed. That's the story I heard.
Respectfully.
Respectful. We have to say respectfully.
Is that how he died?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. That's how he died. He died in a car crash. Going to meet his side piece.
Oh wow. So I didn't know that.
No, yeah, I wasn't kidding. That's the rumor. That's what I've been told by many boxing insiders, and I've heard it plenty of times. For it at this point, it's probably what happened. Probably he broke camp. He was in camp. And he left. He was speeding with his Porsche, bro. You got a 23-year-old phenom. At 23 years old, you wanna plug everything, right? I mean, so he's got a Porsche. He's going to meet the chick, and he crashed.
Chat, is that true? I'm asking the chat here.
Yeah.
Chat. Let's see what they say.
Chat,
yeah.
Confirm for us. I mean, I've been hearing that story for decades since I started boxing. So
wow, the side piece saga continues in boxing, and turns out you weren't the only one.
You don't even want to laugh about it because damn, everybody, we've all been 23 years old, and like we're we're going all over the place for chicks, right?
Bro,
That's what we do at 23 years
you
old.
were 32 saying that shit.
I know, but that was a different kind of side chick. But I'm saying at 23 years old, listen, at 23 years old, you get in your car. If a girl's available that you haven't plugged yet, you get in your car and you're going, even if you got to drive across the bridge to Jersey or whatnot. Like at 23 years old, at 32 years old, I'm not doing that, bro. Like I gotta know it's there. I gotta know what's waiting for me. At 32 years old, so 23. I'm talking about the 23-year-old version of dealing with side pieces. With Sal, you kind of feel Salvador's pain because he was on his way, and then he passed away, unfortunately.
Yeah, with all due respect, RIP Salvador Sanchez. Agreed
Totally.
that we never got to see his full potential, and this conversation is in respect to him, but the side piece part, that's unfortunate.
It aligns. It
It
aligns.
aligns. Speaking of side pieces and
And look, you wearing the hat
ducking,
too. I mean, bro, how 6 degrees of separation come together? Look at that. You're even wearing the hat, dude.
I am wearing the hat.
You're even wearing
I gotta rep the hat for the show. I can't throw on.
it all came together. How do we get Salvador Sanchez, side piece, greatest Mexican born fighters of all time, all in the same conversation? Only we could do that.
I don't want his estate coming after us, Paulie.
No. I'm just saying that's the rumor that I've heard.
We put up
And
another
I've heard it
poll.
from a lot of people. So
We put up another poll. Who's the biggest duck in boxing right now? And I just put Canelo versus Benavidez or Tank versus Shakur. And Canelo versus Benavidez was over 75% voted that because
because that's the mandatory. Tank versus Shakur is more of a unification. It should happen. It's supposed to happen. It's slowly brewing into that kind of duck as well. If Tank keeps doing this, but I think that I'd like to have faith in the fact that Tank and Shakur will eventually get it on. At the proper time and not at the time of like a Mayweather Pacquiao type of situation where nobody really wanted to even try to win that fight. I still want to see them fighting when they're hungry. We'll see.
So in that poll, people are saying you ducked the Connery match.
I wish I could say I ducked the Conor match. I wish I could say I ducked the Conor match. I think Conor ducked me. I don't. After the sparring session,
No,
I said,
the Con rematch, not the Conner rematch.
Oh, Con. But what Con rematch? How did I duck the Con rematch? There was not even a demand for the Con rematch. When did I get offered the Con rematch?
People are saying you ducked the Con rematch. Johnny
That's
6'6"
I didn't even know the Con rematch was ever up in the air.
You wouldn't duck a Conor rematch though.
I mean, there was not even a Conor fight, let alone a Conor rematch.
there was 12 rounds.
Yeah. By the way, I heard he was in New York the other day. Somebody told me he was getting his ass whooped in the gym by a 165-pound novice in a New York Athletic Club. This guy, buddy, even if I don't live in New York, the eyes in New York are everywhere from me, bro. Like they just call me and hit me up. So like, dude, tell him if anybody out there knows Conor, let him know to continue to make everybody put their phones in the buckets when they walk in the gym when he's sparring, because or not let anybody into the gym that he doesn't know. Tell him to keep doing that, because I'm telling you, like, you can't walk into New York Athletic Club and get your ass whooped by a 165-pound novice and then expect me not to hear about it. Like that, people were texting me about that.
Do you just have eyes and ears all over the gyms
They just
New
text
York?
me. I don't know, bro. I'm not in New York.
I'm imagining a payphone call and you have to like walk over to payphone and they're like, "Paulie, we got Conor.
What are we in Donnie Brasco? What are we in Donnie Brasco?
I've been watching too many movies. Speaking of movies, this is our last segment, non-boxing related. I put up Godfather 1 or Godfather 2. 65% put Godfather 1.
Yeah, I mean it's the original, but it's hard, man. It's so tough because that is such a beautiful. I think I'm losing my mind just even trying to think about it, because 1 is amazing, but then I love the Little Italy footage in 2, and when the Robert De Niro as Vito comes to New York, and the Little Italy footage and that whole era is shown in the movie at that time. I love that. Like I actually love to explore that part of Italian history, right? So for me, it has a big thing for me in part 2 as well. But guys, part 3, my sources tell me part 3 was gonna be a family war between Michael and Tom. And if you really look at the end of part 2 and even some subtle things in part 1, you can see that there's subtle things brewing between Michael and Tom. Part 3 was going to be that movie, but these Hollywood assholes, we say that? These Hollywood mutts, and Hollywood mutts didn't want to give Robert Duvall the money he was asking for.
5 mil. 5 mil.
I heard he
Give
wanted
him the 5 mil.
Bro. And you know why? I tell you why they did that. Because in the between the first and second movie, they got away with this already. And they thought they'd get away with it again. Between 1 and 2, Clemenza, the guy who played Clemenza, wanted more money between 1 and 2. And they remember Fat Clemenza? And they didn't pay him.
Well,
they
no,
didn't pay
he
him. Instead, they
also
brought Santangeli.
no, well, he also made a point. Castellano, he said he didn't believe Clemenza would go against the family, and he wouldn't would testify against the family because that was originally in the script.
That's what they wanted to do too.
And he said the whole thing was he wanted to write his own lines and all that, which who knows because he was the highest paid character. He was the highest paid, but he said Clemenza wouldn't go against the family. That's why he didn't want to do it. That could obviously be a spin zone.
Yeah, I think that would be a crazy eye-opening moment. Like, wow, Clemenza goes against a family. Because Clemenza was one of the originals with De Niro in part 2. You see, he goes way back with him. So, yeah, that would, especially testifying and writing. Yeah, I mean, I kind of get that, but either way, they got away with it by just killing him off and not letting him in the movie because he was giving them problems, right? So that's why they did it again when Robert Duvall gave them problems. They thought they'd get away with it again. Bro, you roll the dice once and you got away with it. You're going to roll them again? You crapped out, bro. That's unbelievable. And as good as 1 and 2 were, 3, with those characters built up to be the most intelligent characters, so well acted by Pacino and Duvall, so well played by Pacino and Duvall, part 3 would have been absolutely amazing. Amazing, bro. Would have been amazing. A family war. Because Tom and Michael were the most shrewd, astute guys. Aaron, it was just, they had loyalty from the family. Both guys had the people that were loyal to them were very loyal to them on both sides. You know, like it would have just, I can't believe they blew this, bro. I can't believe they blew that.
Being the daughter too.
Yeah, I can't believe they blew that, bro. Like, how do you blow that? That's unreal, bro. Unbelievable.
So a lot of people are.
And then they made a part 3 that had nothing to do with anything. Like you could watch part 3 without watching 1 and 2. But you should not watch 2 without watching part 1, for example. You know what I'm saying? Like 1 and 2 go together. But you could watch 3 on its own. It's a randomly idiotic movie. You know what I mean? Like that really doesn't come into play at all. You know, the only thing I like about part 3, you know what I like about part 3?
Right when they brought
footage of Sicily. I like that they're in Palermo a lot, and you see footage of Sicily because I've been in Palermo and I've gone to a lot to like the church and all that and all that stuff where like they shot a lot of the stuff. You know, they filmed a lot of stuff. The only cool thing about part 3 for me personally, as a Sicilian, is the footage, the real footage of Sicily. Yeah. But other than that, bro, they ruined 3. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say also, right when I thought they were out, they brought me right back in. I'm not gonna try to do.
Oh yeah, well that's a famous line, but you could have. I don't know. You could have put that in anywhere. I don't know. You could have.
I thought that's the one thing that contributes. I haven't seen it yet. I guess I have to watch it now. But I don't want my whole.
Have you seen 1 and 2?
Yeah, that's why I was texting you all
last week. Okay, you saw 1 and 2. So yeah, you could have honestly, if you would have started just by watching 3 instead of 1 and 2.
I was an adult.
Not bad.
I was an adult. It was my first time.
Watch 1 and 2 to watch 3.
Some of our favorite scenes. Your favorite scene from 1? Yeah.
Favorite scene from 1? I don't know. Maybe maybe at the end when he goes on the revenge kill, when he gets Mo Green and he gets everybody else, and then he's waiting for Carlo, and the way he's waiting for Carlo, and it's cold when he makes Carlo think he's gonna live, but then he ends up killing him anyway. Yeah, like it's ice cold, bro. It's ice cold. And the scene I hate the most in 1 is when they kill Sonny. By the way, when
that's my second favorite. I just like the way
when they killed Sonny. You know that's in Long Island, right? It's right by I got a house in Island Park in Long Island. Okay. It's by Long Beach and Island Park, and that toll plaza where they killed Sonny is not far from where my house over there is.
So is that toll plaza still there?
Nah, because now it's like an easy pass. BS,
yeah, it's an easy pass.
They took down.
But it's the same area.
But up until it's still there. Up until like maybe less than 10 years ago, the toll plaza was still there, bro.
That's pretty sick. The Sonny ambush was one. My favorite is personally to leave the gun, take the cannoli scene because you see the
Yeah,
Statue of Liberty in the
yeah, yeah.
background.
You see New York in the
I,
background. Yeah,
that's my
Clemenza,
favorite.
kid. Yeah.
I just love the Statue of Liberty in the background, those big plants, and
And
then
does
this
anybody else get
wide
hungry when
shot.
Clemenza's cooking the meatballs? Does anybody else get hungry? I don't know, bro. I,
And then he
every time I see
explains
that
how
scene, I get
to
hungry.
uh a lot of some subtle scenes that people love. Oh, let's go to two. Your favorite scene in two.
My favorite scene in two is probably when he kills the boss in Sicily. Um, when he
Yeah.
gets the revenge kill of the
Is
boss in
that Don
Sicily.
Chichi? Or
Yeah,
is Don
Chi. Yeah, but at the same time, I also like so much of the footage in Little Italy, New York. You know, I know it was filmed a couple blocks away from Mulberry,
Mhm.
and that it's supposed to look like Mulberry Street, but regardless, I love that. You know, walking through that because it just takes you to a time where, like, you know, as an Italian, like, you know, there was so much of the culture was so strong, so big in America. I mean, it's wild, bro. It's wild. It's like we took Southern Italy and just placed it in Manhattan and just, you know, made it our own little world. You know, for me, it's so cool to see that. You know, I grew up in a smaller version of something like that. You know, in Bensonhurst, and Mulberry still had that little bit of Italianness and whatnot. But
Mhm.
you're talking about the early 1900s, where that scene is supposed to show the early 1900s of when it was just you just basically took Southern Italy and placed it in Manhattan and just it's all there. You know, it's for me, it's so cool. That's my to see that's my favorite part. But as far as the most eye catching scene, killing Don Chichi for everything that he did to him. I mean, you think about Don Chichi did a lot of bad stuff, you know. So you know,
Uh, so a point to your lit to the Little Italy scene. Matthew Stock, his favorite scene, which I didn't really think about this. Young Vito loses his job, sets the fruit on the table. His wife says, "What a nice parrot." They sit down for a meal. He grabs and kisses her. And that's kind of cool. And then it just kind of represents the whole Vito's morals. And then another scene when Vito is on the roof and he gets rid of the gun and drops it
yeah,
down that.
yeah, and
And that I didn't think
yeah,
about. I was like, that
takes it
is a
apart.
fucking
Yeah,
sick scene.
takes the whole thing apart. I tell you what, another thing too. Now you guys are making me think. That's why I love the chat. You guys are making me think now. When he becomes the boss, when everybody finds out he kills the black can guy. What was his name? The black can guy. When he kills the boss of New York, the guy who the when
The
he
guy in
kills
this the white suit. The guy in the
yeah
white
with the
suit.
white suit. I forgot his
And
name.
and then when he's in the lights
Yeah,
flickering. Yeah.
yeah, when he kills him, and now he's the boss. And remember, he was trying to do a favor for the wife's friend or something that wanted the rent lowered or something like that, or she didn't want to pay rent, or she didn't
Yeah.
want to. She needed a favor, and the guy at first the guy was like, "Get out of here! I'll kick you in your
Yeah.
ass" or something like that. And then when he comes back, he's like, "Oh, Don Corleone, you know what? I'll give her a break. I'll give her this." And then
Yeah.
he wanted to charge her even less than he was charging her originally. Like in the beginning, Vito was just asking for a break on raising the rent, and it got to the point where and then he wanted to do it. He didn't want to do it. It got to the point where he was charging her even less than what he was originally charging her. So the guy took a loss because he saw what was going on. You know.
So I'm gonna say my favorite. It's hard for me with two because it's just so dark and it just gets so I can't like decide like what's my favorite scene of this, but I'd say Fredo and Michael when they're talking about why don't we do this more? That's the one that hits me the hardest with
When
having a
you know what
brother.
you know, that's another thing too. Now you get me thinking, bro. You know what's tough into when Fredo talks about
Johnny
like yeah, when he talks about like Johnny Ola's been here and
Johnny
all this
Ola
stuff.
brought me
Remember,
here.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and all this stuff,
That's a comment.
and old man Roth would never come here, and then Michael realizes he's been here. He knew them the whole time, and he told me he didn't know them. Oh man, that was so cold. That was so cold. By the way, Johnny Ola is Uncle Vito in Sopranos. I don't know if everybody realized that.
Johnny Ola
Johnny Ola
is
is the
on.
same actor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think because I'm
The
only on
senile
season
uncle,
3 of Sopranos.
James, you know, Tony senile uncle in Sopranos. Tony senile, it's his father, no, Uncle Vito. It's
Uncle Vito.
yeah, he's a no, is it Uncle Vito? What's the name? I haven't seen Sopranos in so long. Yeah,
Oh, Junior. Junior?
Uncle Junior.
It's
Yeah,
Junior.
no, no,
It's Junior. He doesn't get senile
yeah,
till
I get the
like
characters
season like
confused, but I
4.
haven't seen it in a while. I
Yeah.
got actually that's another refresher I got to do. I got to do Sopranos. I got Sopranos on DVD. I got the whole DVD box set. But Uncle
Yeah.
Junior, yeah, Uncle Junior is Johnny Ola. Johnny Ola
He's
is same
Johnny
actor.
Ola, yeah.
Same actor.
Also, we've got we'll wrap up the diner scene in one when he kills the police officer
That's
and
not a diner. That's an Italian restaurant. Don't call an Italian
fuck,
restaurant a
my
diner.
bad. It's my
That's one of the. That's an Italian restaurant in the Bronx.
I read dinner. I read diner as dinner. I
Oh
read dinner as diner. My bad. I
yes,
read
yes,
yeah
yes.
dinner
When he
scene.
kills
Yeah,
the Turk and the cop. Yeah.
yeah, the Turk and the
And the
cop.
Turk was actually Italian, he's Sicilian, but his nickname was the Turk because he was dark.
So you know how Michael's looking for the gun and he can't find it, and he's like, so they
Yeah.
actually set that up. So Pacino would have like they set it up in the wrong place, so Pacino would actually struggle finding it. So that was like a real reaction. So he was actually like, "Oh fuck, where is it?"
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then the scene on his face, and then he sits down, he's
yeah,
calm, and then boom.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. That's what really brought me in.
Ain't no iPhones in those days, bro. You get away with that.
And then you drop the gun, and then you drop the gun,
Yeah,
and you walk out. You don't make eye
yeah,
contact with anybody,
yeah.
and then you drop the gun.
Ain't no iPhones in those days, bro. You know we
Um,
record nothing.
we'll do a more of a deeper dive when we're together one time on this. Not because there's a lot more to unpack with the Godfather, and with that we'll end that. What's the next Italian American movie I should watch? I did A Bronx Tale. I did
You
Godfather
did a
1 and
Bronx.
2.
Did you watch
I've
Donnie
seen.
Brasco? Did you
I
watch
have
Donnie
not seen
Brasco?
Donnie. No, I have not seen Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco, Raging Bull, Bronx
I've
Tale,
seen Raging Bull.
Goodfellas, Goodfellas,
Seen Goodfellas
The
too many
Godfather.
times.
Um,
Actually, there's no too many times to see
Donnie
Goodfellas.
Brasco is probably like the last one out of those movies that was the end of the era. You know what's another good one, but it's more Jewish mob. But there is some Italian in there. Is Once Upon a Time in America.
So that was the one I was going to ask you if you've seen.
But you got
4 hours, right?
But you got to watch the original 4 hours.
Yeah.
The short and 2 hour version sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got
and
got a lot
that's
of
Sergio
good
Leone though. That's Sergio Leone. So
Sergio Leone, yeah. And you know what's another good one? It's got Italians, but it's mainly about Puerto Rican. Is Carlito's Way.
I've heard of Carlito's Way. Okay.
Carlito's Way is very good too, and there's an Italian presence in there too, but it's Carlito's Puerto Rican. So I'd say like all these movies have an Italian presence, but they're still organized crime, even though the characters are maybe not always Italian. Like in Once Upon a Time in America, it's more Jewish mob, and Carlito's Way is Puerto Rican, but you still have the Italian presence. You still have organized crime faction in New York. You still have that old New York feel. Those are great. I mean, for me, those are great movies. So I tell
I'll
you,
check out Mean Streets too. I haven't seen Mean
Main
Streets yet.
Street is old school. That's 70s, bro. Yeah, that's old.
Well,
That's
that's the
another one.
best. That's New Hollywood. That's the best
That
era of films.
that's when it kind of starts, you know.
Yeah.
And like I said, even Raging Bull, even though it's about boxing, you have the organized crime presence. Yeah, I'd
I've seen
say
Raging Bull.
Once Upon a Time in America, Carlito's Way, and Don Brasco. If you haven't seen them,
That's next. And well, King of New York.
King of New York.
Yeah. Show it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right, but again, for me, it ends at Donnie Brasco. There are other, other movies that come out afterwards a little, but they're not same feel anymore. Like for me, from Main Streets to Donnie Brasco is the era, and everything in between. Casino, you've seen, I assume, right?
I've seen Casino, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, all those.
Yeah. I never wanted to meet in the desert. Never want to meet in the desert. Joe Pesci's scene in that is hilarious when he gets killed. I don't know if there's been a funnier death scene in a movie.
In real life, they killed Spilotro in Indiana though. They didn't kill him in the desert. In real life,
no, they did in the movie, right? It's in a
no. In the
cornfield.
movie, they killed him in the desert, but it's
it's in a cornfield.
It's in a cornfield.
Yeah,
but
it's in a cornfield.
But he's back in yeah. But they don't make you look like he's back in Indiana. He's in Indiana when they killed him.
Yeah, but he's in a cornfield, so I assume he's in Indiana.
Yeah, they wasn't.
Yeah.
It's
Kansas City.
Okay. No, I think it was Indiana when they killed him because Indiana's not far from Chicago. I think they drove him over there, something like that.
Okay, well.
Kansas City's funny. I used to know that actor, the one that he died though, Vinny Vella. Vinny Vella, the one who dies in the Kansas City scene when he dies of a heart attack when they come when the FBI raids everything and he dies of a heart attack and Scorsese's mom plays his mom in the casino scene when he's in Kansas City. Remember that?
Yeah.
Vinny Vella. He used to throw a Christmas party every year, bro. It was, and all the cousins used to show up on Mulberry Street, bro. He was so funny, bro. You hate to hear that guys like that die, bro, because they're like time capsules into the old school, Vinny
Yeah.
used to throw his old school Christmas party every year. I would
Was
be randomly, I would randomly go to Mulberry Street just to eat or something like that, and Vinny would be walking by in the street. You know, what I mean, he was just like a regular neighborhood guy, you know. But he was in a lot of those movies, you know. And he was in Casino. He's the one who dies of the heart. His character dies of the heart attack in the scene when they raid the FBI. The FBI raids the whatever the deli that he has with his mom. You know.
yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
He's the
That's the
one,
Kansas
and he
City
had
scene.
all the
That's
and
the
he had all
Kansas
the
City
right. He
scene.
screwed them because he had everything written down. You know, and then
Yeah.
yeah, he's that actor. Vinny was Vinny Vella.
So all right, we'll wrap up the movie conversation here. We can go for hours on that. I want to before I let you go, we're gonna do you're gonna do your own preview on Dubois and Joshua, but real quick, Dubois 27, AJ 34, age is not playing a factor here.
I don't know that it plays that much of a factor. For heavyweights, 34 is not too old. I think it's a good fight. I don't think it lasts long, bro. Both of these guys have a lot of firepower. Both of these guys are fighting very well, and I think whoever's going to land is going to get the knockout. I think AJ is going to win the fight, but he gets caught, he's going too. You know, this fight is going to be a good fight, but it's not going to last long. There's too much dynamite going on.
So your prediction?
That's my prediction. My prediction is like third or fourth round KO. AJ.
Dubois. Oh, AJ. AJ.
Yeah.
You think AJ's back a little bit with those
Yeah,
with the
I like Davidson. I like the Ben Davidson connection. I like AJ, and that doesn't mean that I think bad of Dubois. I think I actually rate Dubois a lot. I just think that this fight's not going to last long because both guys hit so hard.
Last
But
thing.
it's going to be good. Well, it'll be good while it lasts. I'll say that.
It'll be good while it lasts. And then Munguia's back this weekend. We'll kind of see what's with
Yeah,
him.
but see that post Canelo experience, especially that Munguia's been through the ring a little bit. Let's see if he still stay hungry. If he stays hungry. Let's see if he remains hungry. That's what I'm curious about. Bazinian's not excellent, but he's not a bad fighter. So he does bring some risk to the table from Munguia. Let's see.
So the Spilitro brothers were killed in Bensonville, Illinois.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in Illinois. Okay. All right.
Uncle Frank Finance said that.
All right.
Oh, and
right.
American Me.
Uncle Frank. I'll tell Uncle Frank Finance. I gotta call him back. He actually hit me up. I know Uncle Frank Finance.
Okay. Well, he's on the chat right now.
Yeah.
Paulie, where are you currently, and where are you working this weekend?
I'm in Denver. I'm working BYB fights tomorrow night. But I'm gonna be on the live for Pro Box TV after Dubois and AJ because it's on in the afternoon here in Denver. So I'll be on the live after AJ and Dubois to discuss AJ and Dubois on Pro Box TV, and then I'll be working BYB fights tomorrow night.
All right, sounds good. We did this live on the fly a little bit. Paulie's in Denver. I'm in Venice still. Didn't know about the side piece thing with Sanchez. Well, maybe you have to do some.
It's four more into that, but that's what I've heard, and I've heard it for decades. Honestly, I heard that's what it is. Which honestly, it could happen. Again, you're 23 years old. That's what you chase. What else are you gonna chase at 20?
You've never been in that situation.
What are you gonna chase? Especially a hotshot world champion with a Porsche, 23 years. Come on, it's par for the course. Par for the course. Rest in peace, Salvador Sanchez.
Rest in peace, Salvador Sanchez. I'm Jimmy Reynolds. I'm the producer of
And by the way, speaking of rest in peace, one of my childhood heroes died this week. 1990 World Cup superstar Salvatore Totoschilaci died. Golden Boot winner for the 1990 World Cup. My first World Cup, hosted by Italy in 1990. Italy had a super team, but they lost in the semis, came in third. Scalacci was the leading goal scorer. He was a Sicilian, came onto the team, got put on the team at the last minute, and then ended up starting on the bench, and then ended up taking over as a starter and became the World Cup's leading scorer. Literally, they should make a movie about this guy's experience because he came out of nowhere. As a Sicilian, we're talking about, from Palermo, Italy. Rest in peace, Salvatore Totoschilaci.
Paulie, thank you again. BYB this weekend, and then Pro Box on Saturday. That's Combat and Coffee 25 live. There we go. Thanks, Paulie.
All right, Jimmy. Good stuff, man. Hopefully they liked it. How many people will we have on?
Oh, we got a few. Chavez and apparently Chavez and Paez had a side piece problem as well.
We should have talked about that too, bro.
No, we'll just do a full episode on side pieces and dig deep. All right. Sounds good, Paulie.